Most people do not lose their life in one dramatic moment. They lose it quietly, one repeated morning, one distracted conversation, one decision they never really chose, one year that looks exactly like the last one. And the strange part is this: from the outside, everything may look normal. You wake up, you work, you answer messages, you pay bills, you scroll, you sleep, you repeat. But deep inside, something feels slightly off. Not broken, not hopeless, just disconnected. Like your body is moving through the day, but your mind is somewhere else. Psychologists have a name for part of this: automaticity. In simple words, it means your brain learns repeated behaviors so well that it can run them with very little conscious effort. That is useful when you are driving a familiar road, brushing your teeth, or making coffee. But the same system that helps you function can also quietly take over your life. Researcher Philippa Lally and her colleagues studied habit formation and showed how repeated actions become automatic responses to familiar cues. Habits are not just things you do often. They become patterns your brain starts running before you even think about them. And Matthew Killingsworth and Daniel Gilbert, in a well-known Harvard study published in Science, found that people's minds wander a large portion of the time, and that mind wandering was strongly connected with lower happiness in the moment. So today, we are not talking about laziness. We are talking about awareness. Because the opposite of autopilot is not pressure. The opposite of autopilot is presence. Here are 5 signs you may be living on autopilot without realizing it. Sign number 1, your days feel busy but not meaningful. You are doing a lot, maybe too much. Your calendar is full. Your phone keeps pulling your attention. People ask things from you. There is always another task, another notification, another small problem waiting for your energy. But at the end of the day, you sit down and think, what did I actually do today? Not because you did nothing, but because very little of it felt connected to who you are becoming. That is one of the clearest signs of autopilot: movement without direction. You are active but not intentional, productive but not fulfilled, present in the room but absent from your own life. And here is the trap. Modern life rewards visible activity. It praises being busy. It makes exhaustion look like importance. But being busy is not the same as being alive. A person can answer every email, finish every task, attend every meeting, and still avoid the one question that matters. Is this the life I am consciously building, or just the life I keep maintaining? The micro-correction is simple. Before starting your day, ask one question. What is one thing today that would make me feel aligned? Not successful, not perfect, not impressive. Aligned. Maybe it is a conversation you need to have. Maybe it is 10 focused minutes on a dream you keep postponing. Maybe it is choosing not to react to something that usually steals your peace. Autopilot asks, what do I have to do? Awareness asks, what matters most today? And that one question can begin to wake you up. Sign number 2, you keep reaching for your phone before you reach for your thoughts. This one is quiet but powerful. You wake up and before your mind has even entered the day, your hand reaches for the screen. Messages, news, notifications, short videos, other people's lives, other people's opinions, other people's emergencies, and suddenly your nervous system is not starting from peace. It is starting from reaction. You have not chosen your first thought. The world chose it for you. That is autopilot. Not because phones are bad, they are tools. But when a tool becomes the first voice in your mind every morning, it starts shaping your emotional weather before you even get a chance to breathe. This matters because attention is not just something you use. Attention is something that builds you. What you repeatedly give attention to becomes the mental environment you live inside. If your first habit is checking, comparing, reacting, consuming, then your brain learns to start the day outside of itself. And by the time you finally ask, how am I feeling? The day has already been driving you for hours. Harvard Health has written about how everyday mindfulness can improve concentration and help people feel less distracted and better able to manage stress. The point is not to become perfect. The point is to create a small space between stimulus and response. The micro-correction is this. Protect the first 5 minutes before you check the phone. Check in with yourself. Ask, what am I carrying today? Ask, what do I need to give my best energy to? Ask, what kind of person do I want to be before the world starts asking things from me? 5 minutes will not fix your whole life, but it can interrupt the pattern. And sometimes the first victory of the day is not doing more. It is not handing your mind away so quickly. Sign number 3, your reactions feel faster than your choices. Someone says something and you snap back. A problem appears and your chest tightens. A delay happens and your mood drops. A criticism comes and suddenly you are defending yourself before you even understand what was said. When your reactions become faster than your choices, autopilot is running the room. This does not mean you are weak. It means your brain has learned emotional shortcuts. The brain loves shortcuts because shortcuts save energy. If a certain situation has triggered stress before, your mind starts predicting the same threat again. It prepares you to respond quickly, sometimes before wisdom has a chance to speak. That is why you may regret your tone later, or wonder, well, why did I react like that? Or feel like the same emotional pattern keeps repeating with different people. Autopilot is not only behavior. Sometimes autopilot is emotional. The same argument, the same defensiveness, the same shutdown, the same need to prove, explain, escape, or control. And here is the shift. The goal is not to never feel triggered. The goal is to notice the trigger before it becomes your identity. The microcorrection is the 3-second pause. When you feel the reaction rising, silently ask, is this a response or is this a replay? That question is powerful, because many of our reactions are not about the present moment. They are old patterns wearing new clothes. A response comes from awareness. A replay comes from programming. And the more you practice that pause, the more you teach your brain that you are not just a collection of reactions. You can choose, even if the choice is small, even if the choice is only your next sentence. Sign number 4. You cannot remember the last time you did something simply because it mattered to you. Autopilot makes life functional, but narrow. You do what is required. You handle what is urgent. You maintain what already exists. But the deeper parts of you keep waiting. The idea you said you would start, the skill you wanted to learn, the book you wanted to read, the health routine you wanted to rebuild, the spiritual life, creative life, family life, or inner life you said mattered. Not abandoned, just postponed. And postponed again. And postponed so many times that delay starts to feel normal. This is one of the most dangerous parts of autopilot. It does not always destroy your dreams. Sometimes it just delays them until they feel unfamiliar. You start saying, I'll do it when things calm down. But things rarely calm down by accident. Life does not naturally create space for what matters. You have to protect that space. Peter Gollwitzer's work on implementation intentions shows that people are more likely to follow through when they turn a goal into a clear if-then plan. Not just I should do this someday, but if it is 7 p.m., then I will work on this for 15 minutes. That is how you move from vague intention to real behavior. So the micro-correction is this. Choose one meaningful action and give it a time and place. Not a giant plan. One action. If it is Monday morning, I will write for 10 minutes. If I finish dinner, I will walk without my phone for 10 minutes. If I feel overwhelmed, I will write down the next right step instead of disappearing into distraction. Autopilot thrives on vague promises. Awareness needs a clear next move. And when you start keeping small promises to yourself, something changes. You begin to trust your own direction again. Sign number 5. You feel like life is happening to you, not through you. This is the deepest sign. You are not necessarily miserable. You are not falling apart. You may even look stable, responsible, and capable. But underneath, there is a quiet feeling that you are watching your life more than living it. The week happens, the month happens, the year happens, and you keep adapting to everything but initiating almost nothing. That is when autopilot becomes identity. You stop asking what you want to build. You only ask what you need to survive today. You stop creating direction. You only manage pressure. You stop choosing values. You only respond to demands. And slowly, life becomes something that happens around you. But here's the truth that wakes people up. You do not need to change your entire life to stop living on autopilot. You need to start interrupting unconscious patterns with conscious moments. One conscious breath. One conscious question. One conscious decision. One honest look at the routine that has been running you. Mindfulness research, including reviews published through the National Institutes of Health, suggests that mindfulness can help people become more aware of emotional experience and behavior patterns over time. Again, this is not magic, it is training. You are training attention. You are training choice. You are training the ability to come back to the present before the old pattern takes over. So here is the reset. Tonight, before you sleep, ask yourself 3 questions. Where did I live on autopilot today? Where did I feel most present? And what is one small choice I can make tomorrow that brings me back to myself? Do not underestimate that, because a life changes when awareness returns, not all at once, not with drama, but moment by moment. You notice the habit. You pause before the reaction. You protect your attention. You choose what matters. You stop waiting for life to feel meaningful and you start bringing meaning into the life you already have. That is the difference. Autopilot says, this is just how I am. Awareness says, this is a pattern and patterns can be changed. Autopilot says, I'll start someday. Awareness says, I can make one conscious choice today. Autopilot says, I don't know where the time went. Awareness says, I am here now. And that is where your life begins again, not in the future, not when everything is perfect, not when you finally feel ready, but in the moment you realize you are not here just to repeat days. You are here to wake up inside them. So if this message found you at the right time, write this in the comments. I am waking up to my life. Because the moment you notice the autopilot, you are no longer fully asleep.